Next, we're going to have Michael D. talk about what's happening up at Moog in the Buffalo area and what they're doing with requirements for vaccines for employees.
Thanks, Scott. You're talking about emotional learning. What made Western civilization great was the extraction away from emotion and the application of reason. It's that Stoic philosophy and the application of reason that made Western civilization great, that took us out of the caves and put us into a modern industrial society. What they're attempting to do, this is an aside, this wasn't planned, what they're attempting to do with emotional learning is reduce you back to the level of tribal cavemen. Do not let it happen. And if you have a chance to read a book on critical theory, of which critical race theory is one part, okay? There's a great book out there by James Lindsay. It's called Cynical Theories. Read the book. It will scare that you-know-what out of you, and it darn well should. That being said, on a happier note, but my name is Mike D. You know me as the cranky anti-science fraud guy, and my two big issues were, well, anything in science fraud is problematic to me, but, climate fraud, and I did a thing last spring on climate fraud. And this COVID thing has driven me nuts now since the beginning. My wife will tell you it's driving her nuts since the beginning, and I'm driving her nuts. So anyway, so let me just start out. I work at Moog. I'm an aerospace systems engineer. Here's a little background also. I spent 15 years as a medical systems engineer. I used to design the equipment that you used to do testing, like for antibodies and things like that. So I know a wee bit about it. I'm not an expert on the pure science of it, but I know enough to talk about it. So I'm going to talk about the Moog thing and my reaction to it. So a funny thing happened to me about a month ago. I went to bed and I was living in the land of what was kind of still the land of the free and the home of the brave. And one morning I woke up in the Soviet Union. Yeah. Okay? So I went to work, and my soon-to-be ex-employer Moog announced its mandatory vaccination policy. And now this comes directly down from an executive order from the dictator-in-chief in a diktat made that says all, not just government employees, but all contractors to that have to comply with these COVID mandates, okay? And at Moog, we do almost, I'll say at least 80% of our work, if not more, is either for NASA or for Department of Defense. And my job is to steer missiles and make sure they hit the right place and rockets that don't hit the wrong planet. Hopefully we don't hit the wrong planet. But anyway, we need a lawyer if we do that. So anyway, so that's my job. And I will say this from the beginning. Moog is forced to do this. Now, I don't have a great love for upper management. Most of them are mostly concerned about their exclusive country club memberships, and they'll do whatever they have to. But on the other hand, they have no choice in this. So it's not about Moog management. It's about what we're being forced to do. All right? So here's the Moog policy that comes up, and I talked to my son who works at the Hanford nuclear site out in Washington State, and they have exactly the same policy. This all comes down with all contractors. And it says this, that you must be fully vaccinated by December 8th, or you're expected to resign. Now that's an important statement right there, because that has an implication having to do with many people, frequently asked questions about unemployment. Because if you voluntarily leave, well, it's like leaving, you left for whatever reason, doesn't matter. If you volunteered, you don't get unemployment. Okay. By the way, I don't really care, because I'm close enough to retirement that they can have the salute from me. But anyway, another thing, there was no option for routine testing instead of vaxing. Okay, they're not going to give you that option. However, just today, an update came out and said, well, if you're granted a religious exemption, good luck on that one, then you'll have to do weekly testing, but at least the company will pay for it. All right? Now, there's still no allowance for natural immunity, and this is the one that drives me absolutely up a wall, and I'll get into a couple technical things, and I won't take too long on that, but why that is so egregious. And that's the proof that what we're doing is not about public health, it's about politics and control. All right? So, if you are not vaxxed by December 8th, which means, and that means fully ready to go, which means you'd have to have it, like if you were going to do the J&J, by November 24th at the latest, okay? So that'll be right day before Thanksgiving, I'll say goodbye. There's no, you will be put on what they call unpaid leave of absence, or for those who ever watched Animal House, it's double secret probation. All right, so anyway, for unvaxxed employees, okay, these rabble-rousers. Oh, and I will say, by the way, and there's a number of good people they cannot afford to lose. That's why I say Moog management does not want to have to do this. They don't want to lose people, because without a few critical people, not me, but some of the guys I work with are really smart, without them, not a lot's going to happen. And Moog can't make money if they can't put hardware out the door. Okay, working hardware, and what we do is pretty special stuff. So that being said, Moog is going to buy time here. Now, for unvaxxed employees, religious exemptions are being considered. Looks like good luck on that. But in most cases, don't count on it. You know, this is defined by the federal government. Moog doesn't get to make the decision. There's a third party that comes in, organization, and handles all these rabble-rousers, okay? I'm pretty sure that the money for the third party comes in from somewhere in the executive budget of Joe Biden. I'm pretty sure, and they choose the people, no doubt. Anyway, if you choose not to be vaxxed and you do not voluntarily resign, you're placed on an unpaid leave of absence, double secret probation, and you'll remain on that until January 31st. And you still get they're being good, they still continuity of benefits and everything. So they're not taking away your health care or anything, but you're not paid. And during that time, you can, I guess this is where you can consider your sins, you know, and maybe come back and beg for forgiveness to come back. So anyway, but they say they consider a refusal to vax as equivalent to voluntary resigning. But they also say, there's a lot of duality out here. They also say that you can request to be terminated for cause, but that won't look good on your record. And since I'm really getting ready to retire here, I'm serious about it. You know, I'm happy. I wear that proudly. Terminate me for cause. So you can actually request that in writing, be terminated for cause. You know. Anyway, so Moog has already stated that you could later be reemployed if either you get the required jab or the jab requirement goes away. So they don't want to lose these people, right? They figure out some people get to put out there. Maybe this will blow over. We can bring the people back. So Moog's being as good as they can be about this, but it's realistic. It's not humanitarian. They're saying, oh, we need these people. It's not hard. It's not easy to get good, highly educated, highly technical people to come to New York State.
Right.
Moog has,
That's right.
we have satellite locations all over the planet, and usually in places with lower taxes. And that's the only way we can get young, talented people to come work for us. So a lot of guys that do the high-end electrical engineering, software stuff, they're out west somewhere, not California, you know, Albuquerque, Utah, etc. So anyway, my thought there is that Moog is trying to buy some time on that. So that's my opinion. That's just conjecture. I'm not in the boardroom. I may be bored, but I'm not in the boardroom. As I mentioned before, or as you've heard, I should say, there was yesterday a walkout at Moog. Now that's never happened before. Moog's a non-union place where the relations with employees are very, very good. It's a great place to work. I've never met a ASS hole there before. Okay, it's not a problem. It's a tough place to manage because there's so much stuff happening. But it's a good place to work. They take care of their employees. This has never happened before. And the people that are doing they did the walkout, that sponsored it, it was a couple of young guys. I was just amazed at how quickly they put this together. They want to keep their jobs at Moog, but they're having the same question the rest of us are about, wait a minute, who are we patriotic to? Oh, well, you're not patriotic. Well, patriotic to what? Joe Biden? You can take that one. Okay, I'm patriotic to the Constitution and to God. All right? So let's just keep that straight. Some people confuse themselves with God, I suppose, in the government. If we had Stefan Mihailou showed up and Steve DiPietro showed up. So it was a good rally. It was peaceful. The best part was all the guys in their trucks with the flags going back and forth in the background so you couldn't hear the speaker. But it was fun. But I will say, so Moog's in danger of losing key people. This will hurt us. It'll hurt NASA and DOD in a big way. but I think they're trying to buy time. So my personal position on this, once again, I'm in a position where I can be brave because I can afford to lose my job right now. My wife is going to be scared, but anyway, I will not accept the jab. I have natural immunity. I was sick last January, got tested. I know, I'm one of the unreported ones. I got the antibody test back in April or something like that, and I had, very high antibody representation. T cells, B cells, I'm all set to go. So, yay, though I walk through the valley of COVID, or sure, fear, no virus. And but my other feeling is that the downside risk of the jab, so I could go get the jab, I could be legal, but there's a downside risk. If you've had natural immunity, I'll go through this just in a second, but I want to get through this quick so Angela can go. If you've got natural immunity, getting the jab, they'll tell you, oh, well, you need a booster. No,